About the mosque being built in Murfreesboro, Tennessee, this morning on Fox News. No politician I have ever heard talk about mosques being built in the United States and just sort of the influx of radical Islam in America has stated this quite the way you did, and I'd like you to maybe elaborate on this. You said Islam is not simply a religion, it's a political system as well. Yes. It's a culture, it's a religion, it's a political system. Talk about that for a minute.
Our First Amendment specifies separation of church and state. Let me clarify what that means, because that has been confused. It means that our government cannot impose church, religion, or God on the people. That was one of the things that the founders fought for. It did not say that church symbols could not be displayed in the government buildings. Go look at the Supreme Court. Now, we have separation of church and state. Islam combines church and state with what they call Sharia law. This is why I have been making the statement when asked about putting Muslims in my administration. I said, no, I'm not comfortable with that right off the bat. That's not discrimination. That's just being cautious. Because there are incidents around this country, like the attempt to build the mosque in Murfreesboro, like the attempt to build the mosque next to Ground Zero, and there are other exceptions all over this country. They use our First Amendment with the church part without judges sometimes recognizing that there's another component. And so the bottom line is, I believe in American laws, American courts. And in Murfreesboro, I talked to some of the people there. I had a conversation with one of the attorneys who's working on this case. And he said to me that they know for a fact that the Muslim Brotherhood is behind the building of that mosque. But that's not something that a lot of people are going to find out. But in all of those situations that I know about, so this is why I'm saying they put church and state together, and they do have an objective of infusion into our government. Let me give you another example. In Oklahoma, during the election of 2008, the people of Oklahoma had a resolution on the ballot that would basically clearly state that Sharia law could not be considered in Oklahoma courts. The reason that they did that, and by the way, it passed 70% to 30%. The reason that they did that is because in New Jersey, a judge allowed Sharia law in the courtroom. So Oklahoma was trying to nip it in the bud. So I don't back down one iota from my statement, and no, it's not the same type of discrimination that went on in this country in the 50s and the 60s. This is what people are trying to do. They're trying to intimidate those of us who are willing to state it clearly into not talking about it by trying to continue to create controversy. But in the words of my grandfather, I does not care.